doing this evening? I am doing well, thank you. So I am Dr. Jacqueline Forte, just call me Jackie. And we're going to talk about some good, interesting topics on today. We're talking about what is it like to be a black athlete in America. Now, first off, I want to let everyone know that this is a safe space and we're simply having a conversation. But we're going to be hearing truth. And the whole purpose is so that we can be more aware and we can all learn how to get along with the get along, okay? So we're going to start off with just introducing all the panelists. I'm going to ask for everyone to please introduce yourself by giving your name and the sport that you play, and then we'll continue.
Flip the bottom up.
We're good. Hi everybody, nice to meet you. I'm Faison. I play football here at MJC.
My name is Alonzo Jackson. I also play football here at MJC.
My name is Jabari Vaughn. I run track here at MJC.
My name is Josiah Bradford and I run track here at MJC.
I'm Coach D. I am the track and field and cross country coach here at MJC.
My name is Frank Clark. I play football here at MJC.
Well, I'm Professor Jackson. I teach history here and I coach football as well here at MJC.
All right. All right. Now I have a... Hello. Okay. Okay, so now we're just going to get right into these questions. And the whole purpose first is I want us to look at a video. How many people are familiar with the quote, "I refuse to shut up and dribble" by LeBron James? If you're not familiar, we're going to watch that clip right quick and then we'll begin with the questions. everyone. So first, I wanted to share the clip just to kind of set the platform as to how some people feel about athletes who are men and women of color. Not only do you work hard on the court, but as a student you work hard also with pushing that pencil. So these questions are developed for us to get insight as to what it's like to be intelligent, strong, talented, and Black. So this first question, I want to hear actually each person answer this first question. In your own words, what do you think LeBron James meant when he said, "I will not just shut up and dribble"? If each one can take a moment and answer that.
Me personally, I just feel like people forget that we're not just athletes, like we're people outside of sports and what we do. And we're not just limited to being athletes. So we have our own opinions. We do regular things like everybody else. We just are athletes. We are held to a higher standard. But at the end of the day, we're normal as well.
Yeah, I also feel the same way when I think of it. Our First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, religion. We have the freedom to express ourselves. Apparently we have the freedom to express ourselves. And he's basically saying that he's human too, and he should be able to express himself in however he wants to, you know. He's obviously educated. You can't get to the pro level unless you're educated. So I think that's what he meant about it.
So, in society, athletes are only seen as athletes, and what LeBron meant by this is that he's a citizen too. He's able to use his First Amendment, like Alonzo said. He's able to express his emotions, and he will not just shut up. He'll use his voice, even though he's just seen as an athlete in society.
So, when I heard LeBron say this, like, it's one of those things that really gets you, like, you know, it kind of like clicks for you, right? Because LeBron could have just shut up and dribbled, right? He could have just went with the flow of how he's supposed to act whenever somebody at a higher power tells him to do something, right? And you saw that she mentioned money. You getting paid all these millions and you're gonna speak on politics. For me, it's one thing where you tell an athlete not to speak on politics, but then you tell, but like a reporter or someone who's not on the court or not on the field or not on the track, and they're speaking on what you do, your playing style, how you perform. I feel like it's a silver lining. Like, you gotta use your own words. If you're gonna tell him to shut up and dribble, I don't think she should be speaking on stuff that she's not doing herself, you know, and keep it clean.
Yeah, I think to elaborate on that, what does qualify anyone to speak on anything, really? What makes her more qualified to speak about politics, society, anything than LeBron James is? And when you get down to, like, when you really get down to the bottom line of it all, we're all taxpayers. So LeBron James is a taxpayer. And really, making $100 million a year, he's in a higher tax bracket than she is. So he should be able to speak even more on what's going on. So I think we have to first ask, you know, what qualifies anyone to speak on anything, and what makes him less qualified because he's an athlete than her because she's a talking head on television.
I mean, pretty much going off of what everyone else said. I mean, as an athlete, people try to categorize us or put us in like a certain place, but they forget that we all human. We all got emotions and stuff too. We all go through things day to day that sometimes we don't let people see. So as far as just shutting up and dribbling the ball, it don't come to that, because if we got to speak our mind on certain things, we got to express ourselves in any way possible to make a change.
You know, I think everybody pretty much hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, what LeBron is saying is I have a voice. and my voice as a taxpaying American who voted should be heard, just like anybody else's voice. And as Coach said, who is she, or what qualifies her to tell him what he can and cannot say or do? What's funny is, if he would have went and endorsed Trump, everybody on that network would have loved the heck out of LeBron. They would have ran all them quotes. Because remember when Kanye ran behind Trump, they couldn't wait to say, oh look, we got one that likes Trump, right? But because he was against it, all of a sudden, certain networks, so this is the other part of the game, right? That certain networks are going to promote certain things. So clearly, what was that, Fox, right? Had to be Fox. So clearly, she's pushing an agenda, right? So she also was told to say this. To be quite honest with you, if you had her in a room one-on-one, I don't really think she believed that, because she couldn't have got there to have enough sense to know that everybody got a voice, and if LeBron want to speak on it, he should. And in fact, sports have been the major catalyst that have opened up pretty much every door that you can think of in American history as it is, right? And so, for her to try to remove that voice from him, and she was talking to him like he was a child. Okay, there's a lot of things you got to see in this, which goes way back to some slave master type stuff. I talk down to you, I belittle you, I demean you because you ain't got enough sense. But this man done took. Not only is he 100 million plus, he got movies. He brought everybody from his hood and his team on. He put them on. He got them educated. He got all of his team together. He got school. He probably got more. He done probably helped more people through his school, through his scholarship fund, that lady than ever helped her whole life. Right? So she instead of bigging him up for all of those things, all she wanted to do was talk to him like he a little boy. And that's the type of stuff that got to stop. And that's what was Bob. That's why he said, I'm not going to shut up and dribble. I wish I could have been his mouthpiece to talk to her, because he had to be politically correct. I don't care. I have nothing to lose. But that kind of stuff, the sentiment, it's the psychology behind it that you really got to see that has to stop.
Very good. So when we talk about this voice that we have the right to exercise, and we all wear multiple hats, as we've heard said multiple times here with the panelists. We're more than just, and I say we because I used to be an athlete, more than just an athlete. We wear multiple hats. And so that kind of reminds me of this next question. And I wanted to ask, what is meant by I am black before I am an athlete? I just want to hear from a couple of ball players. You guys pick. Jabari, I'll ask you.
What is meant by I am black before an athlete? Before I am an athlete, I am a black man. And if I wasn't playing sports, that's what I'll be seen as. So before I'm an athlete, I am a black man. So
We are in a safe environment.
So just without sports and without my sport that I play, I'm black. So I don't know how to go about this question.
So you are a person.
Yeah.
You are beyond the basketball court or the football field or on the track. You are beyond this stereotype of what people think are athletes. And you as this person, what other hats do you wear besides playing sports? What else do you do?
I work out, I hang out with friends, and I like to read.
So you are an intelligent person. You are a person who have friends, and you're a homeboy. You know, you like to hang out. All right, that's good. All right, somebody else help them out.
When I think about it, I'm a black person. You know, if I go out, if I get pulled over, I still gotta turn the lights on, put my hands on the wheel. I can't move until I'm asked to. You know, I still gotta worry about that stuff, even though I'm an athlete. Because outside of it, they don't see that I'm an athlete. They just see that I am a black person. They see me in the car. I got dreads. You know, that's all they see. So I think that being black doesn't change the fact that you're an athlete, I guess. You being an athlete doesn't change anything, because at the end of the day, you are still black. You know, you still have to face this adversity and this racism in this world, and and yeah, that's kind of what I got.
So I want to hear from the coaches, from both coaches responding, especially when you're having to give advice to your athletes or to your students in the class, and you see the opposition they sometimes face, and what if we just saw more bad news, more controversy, more bad talk in the media, and now, a meet is about to happen, or the game is about to start, and where everybody knows playing sports is all mental before it's anything else. So what advice would you give to your athlete?
In regards, let me make sure I understand. Let me answer this. The black athlete question, I gotta speak to that. Before I'm anything, I'm a man. Not a white man, black man, blue man, red man. I'm a man. I am a man that was put, that certain principles was instilled to me from the people who raised me. So I am that first. It's not until I go outside. Now listen, my melanin is popping, I love it. Don't get me wrong. But I don't wake up and say, oh, I'm a black man today. I just go handle my business. It's not till I'm out doing something that somebody makes me feel or does something to me that would make me, oh, wait, why is this person acting like this towards me? Then you recognize your blackness, right? So as an athlete, I'm not a black athlete. I'm just a man. But when I go do something outside of my household, that's when I'm reminded that I am a black man. It's the treatment that we get that is sometimes good, most times not, depending on where you at, especially in a town like Modesto. It's like 12 black people out here, right? I mean, I'm exaggerating, under-exaggerating, but my point is, there's not a lot of places where you're going to go where you're going to see more than 10 black people at the same time, meaning you feel like an outsider in this community off top. So it's because of how you get treated when you leave your house that you begin to feel anything other than, right? So I want to make sure I make that point, because I don't wake up saying I'm a black man today. I'm a man, I got 2 children, I got a wife, and I'm trying to love the heck out of my family. I'm trying to teach my kids to just be great human beings, and that's the objective. That's the objective. Okay, it's unfortunate that when they leave the house, just like me, that some people will notice their skin tone before they notice the beautiful hearts that those 2 kids have. And that's the problem that we have, in my opinion, in America. Now, to your question about how do I talk to my student athletes or students in my class, the good thing about being a professor at the JC is you get students from every walk of life. Okay, you get students who are returning for the first 20 years since they've been out of high school. You get kids fresh out of high school. You get students fresh out of the military. You got single moms and dads working full-time jobs. You deal with like every aspect, right, of society. And so we get to talk about these deep contexts because I teach a Black history and a U.S. history class, right? And so one of the things that I always try to do is first you just got to ground yourself as a human being. Because if you can't ground yourself as a human being, how can you deal with anything that's coming to you, right? And so my whole thing is just calm down, take a deep breath, and think. Always think first, always be smart with anything that you do, and then we can take it from there. Because if you don't have a sound mind, how can you deal with anything that this system is going to throw at you? And how long you been in the education, like your whole career? You know they throwing everything. Even you with your doctorate, they done threw everything at you that they can. Have they not? And so all I'm trying to say is it don't even matter which level we sitting at. They throwing it at us. So you got to be sound in mind. That's the one thing I always talk to my student athletes about. You got to think, you got to understand the game, you got to know where it's come from and know where it's going. And if you can't do that, good luck. Got to be sharp on that, Coach.
Yeah, I want to kind of elaborate on that. Just from my own experiences, I talk to my daughters a lot about this, and I grew up in a small town as well, and sometimes as an athlete, you can kind of forget that you're black, because sometimes you get a little bit more privilege than you would get just as a black man, and I'm sure the athletes here kind of have gone through that, but then there's those times when you get reminded that you are black, so I can tell you from experience, when I applied for this job here, I've been a professor here for 18 years now. When I applied for this job here, I was recruited to the track and field coaching position here by another coach. I had already had a lot of success at the high school level. I had a successful career in track and field. I went to one of my favorite teachers who was an administrator at my high school and asked him for a letter of recommendation. And when he's handing me the letter of recommendation, he says to me, man, this would be really cool if you get this job. And you know what? Even if you get it because of affirmative action, you're still getting it, and that's a good thing. There was no affirmative action to me getting this job. I did what was expected of me. I had a resume that was very impressive when I got this job. But being told that by someone that I looked up to, you know, one of my favorite teachers at the high school, one of my, you know, most respected administrators, to tell me that, it reminded me of what people see. And they see me again as a black man before an athlete, before a professor, before a teacher, before a father, before anything else. And, you know, I was literally just in a classroom yesterday talking about this to an English class. And I was saying that when I talk to my daughters, when I talk to my student athletes, I have to tell them, you guys have to be careful, because you may think that that athlete privilege goes farther than it actually goes. It doesn't. There's a limit to that as well. And so that's one of the things I think they have to know. And that's when you're reminded, you know what? Yeah, I'm definitely black before I'm an athlete or before anything else. That's what society sees you as, basically.
Very good. So I see that we don't have female athletes here as part of the panelists, but I'm going to represent, all right? So I will tell you something, my personal experience. I ran track and field was my favorite sport, and I remember I had an opportunity to have a full ride scholarship at a school up from Texas, at a school in Texas. And I also had a pretty good GPA, so I had more money in academic scholarships than I did with my sports scholarships. However, when I went to go visit these schools, my first question that I was asked was, what position do you play on the court? Not what is your major, not what are your career aspirations, or are you going to be on the research team, but what position do you play on the court? And that gave me a good wake-up call about how stereotypes gets in the way of really truly appreciating people and wanting to get to know who people really are. And so it was up to me to decide how I wanted to walk my life out. I can sit up here and complain about this and that and the men and everybody's hating, but at the end of the day, it's up to me. And I'm a role model whether I like it or not. What I do on the court, someone is constantly watching, and sometimes people have enough courage to talk and ask questions, but they get a lot of questions answered by just how you respond and your attitude and how you carry yourself. So I want to encourage all of you, don't get played by what you see on TV or what's in the social media, but be who you are. And if you are someone who loves playing sports like I did for many, many years, then love it being true to yourself. And so I want to come and ask this next question. You know, I am thinking about how social justice is having more and more attention to it nowadays, more so than ever before, especially with the unfortunate killings and misconception of justice. And so I want to know, what do you think, or do you think social justice and sports can coexist? Why or why not? Social justice.
Let's see. Let's look at it like this. I saw a lady with the Kaepernick jersey on. So when you say, can social justice and sports exist, was that the, okay. So what has happened, and not necessarily recent years, but let's go 5 years ago. Anytime an athlete or GM, anybody of that nature, a black man makes a stand over police brutality, discrimination in his field of sport, there's never a positive effect to that. I personally haven't seen a positive effect, because what do we have now? We have the media. We have different people with different opinions, and everyone's sharing this and that, and they're like, oh, well, what is he talking about? Oh, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh, maybe they should just shut up. Maybe they should just do this, do that. But it's like, you've never been put in that position, so you can't really speak on what you would do, right? Or how it would play out differently if he would have just put his hands on the wheel, if he would have never ran away because he was afraid of his life. You look at these different things, and it's like, the moment an athlete speaks up on the social justice and how messed up our system is in this world and in America in general, you will really see that we got a lot of work to do. Like, every time I talk to somebody, it's like, well, it's not slavery. It's like, we're better. It's like, you guys aren't, it's not that bad. I'm like, over time, yes. But when the system was built, it didn't have my skin tone, your skin tone, or your skin tone in mind. You feel me? So when you look at it like that, no, I don't think that they can coexist together. There's always going to be backlash. There's always going to be. You never can win in this game. But we tried many times. Look at the wall. We've tried for years. Find another way.
So now we're older and we're wiser. But what advice would you give yourself if you were 5 years old or 10 years old? Just now waking up to life, playing sports maybe for the first time?
My advice I'd give my younger self is to do what you love. Don't do what anyone else loves. Don't base your passions off of someone else's passions. And at 5 years old, that's like kind of around a time where I recognized that I was a late bloomer. So I tell myself, don't be in a rush to do anything. Just trust the process and keep going.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Just work hard. If you love the game, if you really have the passion for it, work for it, but also educate yourself. Because at the end of the day, at some point, it's going to come to an end. As Coach Jackson, he's been my teacher and my coach, and I listen to him, And at some point, this is going to come to an end. Your athletic ability is going to come to an end, but your knowledge won't. So learning transferable skills like learning communication, teamwork, anything in that category, leadership skills, just learn to educate yourself. Work hard for whatever you love, that sport that you love, but also work twice as hard education, because your knowledge won't go away.
Well put.
I would just say, just remember why you got into the game. Like, as a kid, I cherished playing the game a lot. I cherished playing sports, basketball, football. And over time, just the pressure of me growing up became harder for me to do so. So I would just tell myself as a young athlete, just continue to have fun and not forget why you started.
Very good. So this is to the coaches, this next question, and it's kind of similar but different. And it is asking about if inclusion, equity, anti-racism, can it exist in sports? Why or why not?
Definitely. It definitely can, and I think the way it does is by athletes actually speaking out. I think that's very important. When I was growing up, again, in a small, predominantly white town, you get to a point where you kind of just want to just survive. You don't really want to. You don't want to stick out. You don't really speak out up against things too much because you're just trying to survive and get through it. So there were probably things that I tolerated back then that I would never, tolerate